Been talking about Poch. He's the back page of the Sun today. Time for more glory. Of course, it rumbles on with the cricket. Bairstow row galvanises England ahead of the third test. Back page of the Times this morning and also the Daily Mail. He'll regret it. Broaden says Cummins will realise he got it wrong over the appeal. We'll get into the cricket in just a second, but I want to turn your attention to the Mail Online because Oliver Holt's done a great piece this morning. We did it on early breakfast and it's quite a good one. It gets you thinking and you cannot be wrong with this. It's just fully your opinion. Oliver Holt says, I've seen the greats from Federer to Senna and Messi. Stokes belongs in that company. He's the greatest active British sportsman ahead of Andy Murray, Lewis Hamilton, Harry Kane and co. He says, I saw Shane Warne ripping through England batting lineup in the second test in Adelaide. He talks about Phil Mickelson at Augusta in 2004, Roger Federer winning his first Wimbledon title in 2003 and Lionel Messi destroying Manchester United in the 2011 Champions League final at Wembley. Seeing these great sports people over the years, he feels what he saw with Ben Stokes' innings of 155 at Lord's on Sunday, which actually has been overshadowed as in that company with some of the best sportsmanship, best moments in sports that we have ever seen. And I just wondered, do you agree? Is there anyone else you would like to throw out ahead of Ben Stokes?
Did you want to put Jack Grealish in there? Just checking.
Second. No, I think if we're talking of like at this moment, you can't argue with you. You know, you got to see. I watched that game and some of the shots he was hitting, were outstanding. And if you talk about over the last 15, 20 years, you'd have obviously Lewis Hamilton will be in there for what he's done. But at the moment, it's hard to disagree with Stokes, what he's doing through English cricket.
What about cricket though, as the sport? Because if you look at like the top earners in sport, top 100 earners in sports, look at the top 10, there's no cricketer in there and there never has been and there probably never will be unless something drastic happens soon. Is that because football and boxing and golf is a harder sport to do than cricket, or is that not fair?
No. I don't think it's harder, but what doesn't help is when you're hearing people say that, it's not for common folks. Someone tweeted me and says cricket isn't for you, it's not for common folks who wear hoodies. Do you know what I mean? Like I only wear hoodies. Yeah. So I think it's getting there, isn't it? And I feel like what happened on the weekend with the Bairstow being got out and England losing, it had a bit of feistiness to it as well, and that's going to add more people, more viewers to cricket.
But that is the issue, isn't it? It's the attractiveness of it, and it doesn't have, at this present moment in time, the eyes of the world like football does, like boxing might have as well. And so that's the only shame for cricket in that sense, is that it just doesn't have. And it does come a lot down to broadcasting rights, for example, and how much people are prepared to pay for something. And you look at county cricket, for example. You don't get that many people watching county cricket, but this series has certainly ramped it up. And
if I'm a cricketer now and I'm seeing what happened on the weekend, I'm like, all right then,
I'm on the right game.
Heading there, all right then. Let's make it a bit more spicy then. Yeah. Before you know it, you get more people involved with it. That's when the more money starts to come into it. It's about what people want to watch, isn't it? And like I said, I'd rather watch the cricket on the weekend than go to watch the Formula 1. Does it interest me?
Lots of people saying Lewis Hamilton as well this morning. It's hard not to rule him out in terms of British stars who are still doing it at the highest level. Back page of the Sun as well, on the subject of cricket, you'll regret it. John Etheridge writing this morning. Brendan McCullum warned Aussie skipper Pat Cummins he will live to regret the Johnny Bairstow dismissal row. England's head coach is convinced that Cummins will eventually feel he was in the wrong not to withdraw Australia's appeal, and Baz very, very sure about that maybe it'll come back to haunt them. It's a wonderful thing if this does happen. But also then Matthew Side writes in the Times today, Cummins set tone for team of bad sportsmen, and this is what kind of rumbled on yesterday on talkSPORT, sportsmanship. And then we heard Jermaine Pennant yesterday saying on the sports bar, you have to do what you have to do to win. And Johnny Bairstow in that moment switched off, whereas you have to play till the whistle, and he left the ground unmanned. Is there something that he'll learn from that? And that's another lesson in sport as well. But Matthew Side saying Wimbledon started yesterday without the retired Roger Federer, but spectators were still talking about the 8 times champion. He missed it for his elegance and balletic movement, but also for the spirit that he brought to the game. I turned my attention to cricket. I hope the Australians might have taken their word when they said various controversies that would not merely focus on the rules of the game but the spirit. I hope they were telling the truth. But it's just not about being good cricketers, it's about being good people. That's what they said going into this tournament. That come back to bite them in the bum, didn't it?
I'm on the side of do what it takes to win. If they go back to Australia and they won the Ashes, we'll be over here crying and they'll be over there celebrating. Bairstow is a wicket keeper. He should know better. You know, he's tried it himself, hasn't he, over the years. So I had no problem with it. And I think it adds a bit more spice to it now. England, let's see what you got on Thursday. Are you still going to be laughing and joking with your opponents on the pitch? Or are you going to be like, you know what? Cricket is no longer the gentleman's sport. You know, it's now do whatever it takes to win. Simple as that. So can England find little ways to try and, you know, gain an advantage?
Okay. It's going to rumble on, that's for sure. And hopefully it adds a bit more spice